Hello, today is the last day of 2023, and I have been thinking about 2024, of course, and what do I want to do different? How do I want to improve myself in 2024, as well as what I want to make my priorities. So I've struggled through 2023 a little bit with knowing what my priorities are, but trying to execute them when there are things that have to be done that shouldn't really be taking the priority list. But that doesn't mean they don't have to get done. So how do you juggle and manage those things is a difficult task. So, welcome to Real Life with Andrea. Today is, as I said, December 31st, 2023, and I have come up with a few New Year's resolutions. I would rather call them 2024 goals than New Year's resolutions, but for myself, I have created a wallpaper for my phone to remind me daily of what those goals are, those areas of focus are, and they are specific. So as we're thinking about making goals or New Year's resolutions, I'm sure everybody's already thought of them, already been listening to them, but at any time of the year, you can have a goal. You can decide, oh, you know what, for the month of January, or you could do them monthly, you could do them yearly, whatever. But when you set a goal, I think that it's important in order to set yourself up for success that you make that goal specific and achievable. So, and so your goal might be, your overarching goal might be, let's say, okay, so for me, one of my goals is to read more. I like to read. I like to read nonfiction mostly. And so I used to read a lot. I would read probably at least a book a week. But in the last few years, I really haven't done very much reading that wasn't for something specific. So I have a bookshelf full of books that I've seen and purchased either at rumor sales or Goodwill or wherever I see them. I think, oh, I would really love to read that. So this year, my goal is to read more. Okay, so if you put the goal, read more, that'd be really easy. All I have to do is read one book to read more than I read last year, extracurricularly. So my goal is actually, I would love to read one book a week, but I think going from reading nothing to reading a book a week would just be a little bit daunting. And then I would more quickly fail at that. And therefore, when we fail, very quickly, we often give up. So rather than set myself up to fail, I want to set myself up to have better success. So I decided that for this year, I want to read one book a month. So that's 12 books recreationally of my own interests that aren't associated specifically with homeschooling my son, or for any. I have books that I need to read for entrepreneurship that are going to help me in building and growing a business. Those things are specific to tasks. I want to read 12 books that are outside of that, 12 books that I have just said, ooh, I would like to read that for either my own personal growth, for information, for learning, that are just personally for me. So that leaves me one book a month. Which should be doable. And there are times where more than one book a month would be more doable. But over the course of the year, I think that as I'm moving back into reading, that setting my goal for one book a month would be great. That's 12 books a year. That's physical reading. That's not audiobooks. I do sometimes listen to audiobooks in the car when I take a trip or whatever. I am not the best at audiobooks. I'm a physical reader. So I don't count the audiobooks because I don't get as much out of them, even though I am actually listening to them. And typically, if I'm listening to an audiobook, it's going to be a fiction, probably, because my kids are also listening to it, and it's more related to the kids' age group. So anyhow, So that's one goal, and how I decided that I was going to set it up specifically, not just say read more or read 30 books this year. I really wanted to break it down and make that goal possible, because I set goals all the time and I make them too hard or too daunting. I mean, I know in the beginning that that's not achievable. And do I want to push myself to that? Sure, I do want to push myself to that at some point. But when I'm first starting out, I need to make it something that I think that I can actually achieve, so that I keep going. All right, so that's reading. So that's my one personal goal, is that I want to do more reading for myself. All right, so I wrote these goals down. So I'm going to open my notebook here. And I did a lot of writing last night. Okay, so I looked at 5 different areas of my life. I looked at financial, work, financial, personal, health, and relationships. And then I also have a spiritual goal, and we'll talk, so 6 areas, so spiritual. So I did the read 1 book a month. I actually did write down 8 of the 12 books that I would like to read. And so that also gives me a start, so I don't have to stand in front of my bookshelf and go, which one? I don't know. Nope, I have 12 books. I have 8 of the 12 books already that I would like to read that are on my shelf, so I don't have to purchase anything. And so I know exactly where to get started. Okay, so another one of my goals is to save. I am terrible at saving. I live paycheck to paycheck, dollar to dollar, and I hope that that's one of my goals that I would like to change next year. Throughout the year, that's a bigger goal that might take more than 1 year, but this year I want to be intentional about saving, and every paycheck I want to put $20 into savings. So whether that's a paycheck from my part-time job at Kohl's, or I work, sometimes I work for a catering company, no matter what paycheck is. So if I get a once a week paycheck, if I get 2 paychecks that week from 2 different jobs, it doesn't matter. $20 per paycheck all year long, right off the top. Tithes, 20%, there are $20 savings, and then the rest is what I am going to use to live on. Okay, so that's two goals: my reading, my saving. Now my health goal. A lot of people want to lose weight, exercise more, all these different things. And again, getting specific on the health goal, I want to eat healthier, and my health goal is actually tied to the financial goal of wanting to stop living so dollar to dollar, and that is to eat out less. This past year, our schedule has been crazy, and part of that's my own fault, because I say yes to so many things. But one of the things that I have not done well over 2023 is to get up early enough in the morning, on the mornings that we have to leave to go someplace, to have breakfast, etc. So we eat out breakfast 1 to 2 days a week. We eat out lunch at least 1 day a week with Grandma and Grandpa, and then it's just me and Sebastian most days. So a lot of times, if we're out running errands and stuff, we eat out for dinner. So we eat out a lot. And although with just Sebastian and I can keep that cost down for eating out, it's not the healthiest way to eat, and it's still more expensive than eating at home. So one of my goals is to eat out breakfast only 1 morning a week, and it's a little bit more than that. So we have we meet with a homeschool group that is for enrichment on Fridays, and it isn't every week. We might have 4 weeks on and 1 week off, and then 3 weeks based on the church's availability for us to have the meetings at church. So we will eat out on check mornings only for breakfast. On our regular homeschool morning, we will be eating at home. So that means getting up earlier and getting our day started. So that's one part of the health, is cutting back on the eating out. I want to start sleeping on a regular schedule. So I will sometimes stay up until, a lot of times I'll stay up till 1 or 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I don't want to get up in the morning, which makes sense because it's not enough sleep. So my goal is this year is to at least 6 days out of the week, be in bed by 10:30 and out of bed between 5:30 and 6 o'clock in the morning, Monday through Friday. Saturday, I'll allow myself to sleep a little extra if I want to, but Monday through Friday, I need to be out of bed between 5:30 and 6 o'clock. And I think that will improve my health because I will be getting regular sleep. It'll make it easier to get up in the morning because I will have gotten enough sleep. And so that'll be an improvement in my health, both mentally as well as physically. And then the last part of my health goal is exercise. And I'm not going to join a gym. I don't think I need to do anything like that. But my son and I have been, even in the cold, taking walks 1 or 2 times a week. And that has been really good. And so I decided that this coming up year, we are going to walk or do something of physical exercise 2 times a week. And it doesn't have to be anything big, but like I said, you have to start somewhere. And maybe when summertime comes, we'll do it more. But I want to make sure also that with the schedule that we have, that what I decide to do is going to be manageable. So he likes to go for walks. So I decided that we would start with just walking twice a week. So there's my health goals. Then I have business, job-related goals. And this year I want to start a new business. I have written a business plan and I'm working on improving that. And I've been doing some studying on entrepreneurship and how to target markets and different things like that. I've invested in a bunch of investigation. I have invested in a lot of websites and different things in order to learn more about how to target. I have an idea about what I want to do. And so then creating a plan around my product as well as how to build this business is where I'm at right now. So in 2024, I want to not only launch this business, but I want to be able to make a profit from it by the end of the year. And inside of that, I will have to set monthly goals. Sometimes I'll have to set weekly goals. So part of my plan, my resolution is that I will sit down at the end of each month and set my goals for the next month in order to improve that the chance of success for that business, as well as I am going to set aside time in my schedule. I have written this Monday through Friday schedule. I will set aside time in my schedule to work, which doesn't mean that I'm going to get paid for it, but it'll be time set aside to focus on this business and being able to get it to a place of being able to launch it and then to be able to grow it. So I am excited about that. And that is going to be a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of time and energy. In addition to that, I want to focus on this channel a little bit more and providing regular content. And my goal in this endeavor of posting videos is to be a real person who's living a real life, wanting to engage in the world, who wants to speak truth and spread the gospel message, as well as to be able to bring logic and thought into the world on some of these hot topics that are going around, such as racism, transgenderism, abortion, all of these things. And coming into an election year, I think it's important that more people speak up and intelligently, calmly explain their point of view, why they believe what they believe, whether it's from religious reasons, biblical reasons, conservative, liberal, whatever it is. When you want to share your point of view, you need to be able to calmly and rationally share that point of view. Now, in fairness, if I get on this video and I'm talking about my point of view, I don't have anybody talking back to me creating anxiety inside of me, although people can get themselves pretty worked up when they shoot a video about different things, and you see them getting all irate about these hot topics, which I don't think is necessary, and I don't think it's helpful. But it's trying to calm people down and to start focusing on the truth, focusing on what's right and wrong, focusing on the Constitution, focusing on, when it comes to our country issues, focusing on different aspects and being able to logically share my opinion and my views, and hopefully help people to be able to express themselves in what they believe, and helping to help other people understand what their point of view is. So from a work perspective, those are the two areas that I would like to see improvement in my own life, creating my own business and being more consistent on this channel and sharing my beliefs, my faith, and what's going on in the world, as well as just how do you do life with all of these things going on. So, and then my spiritual goal. Let's go back to spiritual goal. So not only do I want to share in everything that I do, whether it's on this channel or outside of that with my family and my friends, my goal is to be more Christ-like, to be more loving, to be to listen more. And so in order to do that, I need to spend more time in the Word, more time in prayer. And I need to be able to carry the Word of God with me, not in a physical book, but in mentally. So I have decided that I would like to memorize 52 scriptures, new scriptures. I do have many memorized. I wasn't a Awana as a child, so I have a lot of scriptures already memorized. But I want to memorize a script, one verse a week, for the next 52 weeks. And I think that will help me to have more in my toolbox when I do get upset, or when I get frustrated, or I feel trampled on, or when I feel like it's hard to be loving in a conversation, etc., etc. So that's my spiritual goal. And then relationships, and this is probably going to be, I guess they'll all be hard, but balancing them all will be hard. I want to spend at least 1 hour per week with my children who live at home, letting them control the conversation, listening to them, telling me what's going on in their lives, and asking questions that are directly related to them and what's going on with them and what they think about different things, rather than feeding them what I think they should think. The whole purpose is to hear their hearts and where they're at. And so with my 2 children who live at home, I want to do it weekly. With my children who don't live at home, I would love to be able to do it every other week. Of course, it doesn't only depend on me. It also depends on them. But my goal this year is to spend 2 hours a month with my children who don't live at home, just listening to them and their hearts and where they're at. This will give me the ability to pray more specifically for their needs, for where their thoughts are, for where their feelings are, for what's going on in their lives. And it'll also give me an idea of where I might need to focus a little bit more attention, where I might have been neglecting them as far as their needs, their emotions, time spent, etc. So I'm hoping to build relationships with my children by spending specific time listening to them and letting them lead and guide the conversation. So that's it. That's all my goals. That's it. That's all there is for 2024. It's a lot. It's a lot, but I really believe I spend a lot of time thinking about these things over the last, and really I thought, oh, I've only been thinking about them for a few days, but reality is these are things that I've been wanting, I have been craving for probably the last 6 months, and unable to really sit down and figure out in tangible words, what is it that I'm looking for? How is it that I want to improve? And how do I prioritize these things? And these things are the things that I want to prioritize over everything else in this coming up year, because I believe that these things that I have set aside are from God, and they're the direction that He wants me to go. So homeschooling my son, of course, is a priority, but if there are things that don't meet these goals, then those are the things that I need to consider maybe not doing. So if I'm out of time and or I need to make a decision. So that's where I'm going to start. We'll see how it goes and how long it lasts. I'm hoping that I made it all achievable and I didn't bite off more than can be chewed. So if you think of praying for me, yeah, pray for these things. I think that I don't know. I think that having a direction in my day, in my life, is going to be helpful. But I think the things that are going to get away is my own self being a yes person. Every time someone says, hey, you want to go out for lunch? And I say yes. And where do I find that time? Well, I find that time by not doing the business that isn't really, it's not like I have to go to work. I'm not answering to anybody for that business. I'm not answering to anybody for reading that book. I'm not answering to anybody for memorizing that scripture. And although all of those things should be a priority because they're for the future, and I think that this builds a healthy lifestyle and helps me to be more Christ-centered and more loving and more balanced, often that pressure that's right in front of you to do something will take over something that doesn't really have anybody telling you you have to do it, which is true in our Bible reading, in our prayer time, in our time with God. Those things are easy to put off and put aside when somebody else is standing in front of you saying, hey, I'd like to do this, or whatever, something that's more tangible. And those things that nobody is pressuring you to do are the things that you put off, even though those are the things that you really need to do, because they are really the things that are going to build into your own self and make everything that you do be better. So, thanks for listening. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I would love to hear what some of your goals are going forward in 2024. Do you set yearly goals? Do you do resolutions? Do you set monthly goals? Do you have a schedule that you keep? How do those things work for you? So thanks for listening. As always, I enjoy sharing myself with you. And if you have anything that you would like to talk about, please leave it in the comments below. And if you don't agree with me, as always, feel free to comment on that as well. I look forward to spending more time with you and being more consistent in my posting. And so there will be some interesting things coming ahead in this 2024 election year. Have a great day and have a great start to your 2024.